I'm Travis Weaver, and you're listening to the Good People Project.
We're rolling. The wise and talented Matt Sheehan. How you doing, buddy?
Good to be here with you.
Good. Hey, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate having you. I have to admit, this is the 24th or 5th episode I've done. I don't know that I've ever gotten nervous, but I'm like, okay, I've got to be buttoned up for this because I'm talking to like a legitimate journalist, a guy who like actually does this, actually gets his own videos.
Yeah.
So if I'm shaking, it's just because I'm in like the awe of the wise and talented Matt Sheehan.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
So I appreciate having you here. I'm sure I was looking forward to this one because as one of the local anchors, people kind of know who you are. They see you, and then all of a sudden, the story Matt Sheehan ends on WMBD, manifests now in this new situation where you're at OSF. But one of the things that I really appreciate about you is that I really view you as a reporter, journalist, storyteller at heart, because now that you're not doing it professionally, you've had all this flexibility now to just kind of tell whatever stories you want to tell and just have fun with it. So that's a lot. I'll turn it over to you. What's going on? What are you up to? What's life been like since you left the news station?
Yeah, I think you made a great point of just the storytelling aspect. And that's since I've been a kid. I mean, that was kind of ingrained into me. And so I think it wasn't until right before I went into college that I decided I wanted to go into broadcast journalism and be some sort of, TV reporter or anchor. I actually learned that I wanted to do it because I was in improv in high school. So if you think about SNL, that sort of thing. And there was this game that we would play in improv called Anchorman. And so I was always the head anchor, and we had the sports reporter and the weather reporter, and just doing these hilarious skits. And then at the end of the night, the parents that would come out to watch us would come up to me like, "You're actually like pretty good at this anchor thing. Like maybe consider that." I wanted to go into business and all this stuff, and I was never really great at math. So when they started saying that sort of stuff to me, it kind of clicked in me. Okay, I like to write, I like to talk, I like to communicate with people. Maybe broadcast journalism is the route to go. So I went that route, graduated, started here at WMBD. It would have been June of 2018. So I've been in Peoria for about 7.5 years now. And, but yeah, it was just that storytelling aspect. And when I left the business about 2.5 years ago, and started OSF and media relations, it's a perfect segue into kind of the next stage of life. And a lot of people in the industry are doing that, but I'm still telling stories. I've got a lot of experience with the camera, photos, videos, recording, editing, all that. I still do all of that to this day. And it just kind of made sense for me and my family where I was at.
All right. So I wasn't going to get to this till later.
Get into it.
Man, you talk about improv. And so I got to jump forward in a segment because...
Are we doing it?
Let's go. So I call this, never done this segment before.
Okay.
Breaking news. Does Matt Sheehan still have it?
Okay.
So here's the pitch. I'm going to be the producer. Yep. You're walking onto the set and I'm like, "Hey, Matt, we got breaking news. I'm just going to give you one sentence. Okay. You got to break it. There's your mic. There's your camera. This is bad radio. There's your camera."
All right.
Okay. You ready?
All right.
Okay. So, hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Zoo animals are loose on I-74.
Okay. You got it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, breaking news tonight, everybody. We just got news from the Peoria Police Department. Zoo animals, we're talking giraffes, zebras, and lions, are out wild on westbound I-74 around the university exit. We'll get you some more information tonight at 9 o'clock.
That was good.
Is that all right?
That was great. Okay, number 2. Matt, temperatures are expected to drop below 20 degrees. You got to plug polar vortex and snowmageddon as much as you can.
Okay, you got it. All right. 3, 2, 1. Some new information coming in tonight. We're going into a polar vortex into the weather, into the weekend. Chris Yates, the chief meteorologist, he's going to have some more information for us here soon. They're calling it snowmageddon, and we're pretty worried about that. But we've got much more coming. We're talking hypothermia, frostbite, all of the above.
Okay. I think this is the third and final one. You're nailing it so far. Here it is. Matt, we're being told there's a slow chase of a white Bronco driving down one Memorial.
Okay.
Take it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, just into the newsroom from the public information officer at PPD, Peoria Police Department. There's a very slow-moving white Bronco moving down westbound War Memorial. Police are in chase. They're urging anybody to just get out of the way if you can. Get into your homes, lock the doors, and Say a prayer, folks.
Yeah, good. Okay, I couldn't say OJ's in it because
It's like-
I don't know if we even say RIP on OJ, but obviously OJ is not the one
Correct.
behind the wheel today.
Yep.
Okay, so you talk about getting into news. You get this knack for storytelling. You think you like it.
Yeah.
You become a newsman. It's got to be so such an interesting career because it's just changed so much over the ages. I mean, you think 20, 30 years ago, the newsman is like a pillar, an anchor in the community. Everybody knows him. You probably go out to get drinks. And everybody's like, I'm buying the anchors. Rounds are on me.
Yeah.
And then local journalism just changes so much. And so what's that been like? I mean, I'm sure there's even been changes since you've gotten into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think one, a lot more of the people, you're not just sitting behind a desk reading scripts anymore. You're out in the community, and you see a lot of even the main anchors doing kind of special stories, more long term storytelling, which is all great. But to really get into the business, they started throwing out these terms: multimedia journalists, multimedia specialists, this, that, and the other, and it's basically you're a photographer and you're a reporter all in one. And so they're taking two positions, cutting cost, putting you as one, and sending you out. And frankly, you're in some of the worst conditions. You're either like early mornings, which I was when I was at the anchor desk, waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning and going out to Snowmageddons at 3 o'clock in the morning and chasing blizzards or crime scenes or arsons, all the above. I've done it all. Or you're late at night and you're getting off work at 11 o'clock. Well, guess what? Breaking news comes across the scanner and you got to go. And it's it's 10 degrees and you're outside of a quadruple homicide and you're there till 4 in the morning. Also, I've done that as well. So you kind of start in these places and then you're kind of hoping to chip away, moving up, moving up, moving up. And it can be hard to do when the people that are behind the desk, they've been there for 30 years and they've got seniority and you're just trying to find those steps up. And I was lucky. I think in the first 2 years at Channel 31, promoted 3 times in 2 years, which I was very grateful for. Ended it on that third promotion, morning anchor, and yeah. So that's kind of how it is. I mean, to this day, people still tell me, we miss you on TV when you coming back, that sort of thing. It's like I'm not coming back anytime soon.
You're like, I woke up at 7 a.m. today.
Yeah,
5 hours later,
I got kids, man.
To go off.
Yeah.
So you're doing the AM show, so you AM anchor, and then you're also doing journalist coverage, and then filling in for other slots. Like, so a multimedia role. Like, what all? I guess what roles were you doing all at once?
Yeah, so definitely at minimum, you are the photographer and you are the reporter. So you're at least two at one. Some days, you would go out and you would shoot a couple stories, and so you'd be those two positions, and then maybe you'd fill in the 4 o'clock show as an anchor. So you might be doing three things. There's always a possibility, somebody's sick. Maybe you have to produce a show, so that's another opportunity there. So it's really just with short staffing and budget cuts and budget restraints, you could be doing 2 to 4 jobs a day for sure.
Do you think that, despite the budget cuts and less ratings, I mean, I got to assume that like people are getting trained a lot more now just because it's so cutthroat. You're doing so much at once. There's, we talked on before we were on there, just about the adversity that you have to overcome.
Yeah.
More adversity now. I mean, would you say that people on the air now are probably maybe not better, but for sure more well-rounded?
I think they're more well-rounded because you have to be able to do everything. On any given notice, if there's only 2 people in the building and something happens, a snowmageddon happens, and nobody's
We got
able to get
giraffes
in.
on 74.
Giraffes are on 74, the white Broncos on War Memorial. Somebody's got to go and get that. And so if you are already trained in camera work, well, you're the guy. So
Yeah.
you better get out there and go. And you have to be fast about it because we have Facebook now, we have Instagram. And so a lot of what I started doing when I was there, let's say it was 4:30 and we didn't have a newscast till 5. Well, I would be at a scene and we would do a Facebook Live at 4:30. So we would utilize social media to almost tease to the TV. And so we'd kind of show the scene. You'd go for a couple minutes, and then I'd be like, all right, we're going to get some more information from the PIO, the public information officer. And coming up at 5 o'clock, we're going to have all the details. And so you were hoping through, maybe you had 10,000 people watching your Facebook Live, which we did at certain times.
Wow.
you would try to get at least a sliver of those people to turn on their TVs and listen. So
Wow.
there was one time I remember me and my buddy Zach Hatcher. He was one of the meteorologists here. We and this was back when I was more so the reporter and photographer. It was kind of a snowmageddon. It was a blizzard. It was like early December or like late November. It's kind of a weird time where you don't normally expect it. And we went out kind of snow chasing in our storm tracker. And I think I was driving and he was in the passenger seat and he was just Facebook living the whole time. And we had like tens of thousands of people watching at any given moment. We just kept that thing rolling. It was like a Saturday night. We went for like 3 hours
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, got a couple 100,000 people
Oh my
watching it.
god.
And
Oh my gosh.
it was pretty sweet. By the end of it, it was like, yeah, a couple 100,000.
Oh
So
my gosh.
you try to utilize the different platforms. That's how things have changed too.
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite story that you got to tell or report or something that you got to cover that really stands out to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always liked anything where I could get out in not necessarily just nature. Yeah, that was great, but get out on boats. I was able to take like a hovercraft and I drove the thing on an pond of ice. And I was there with the police department, Fond du Lac Park District Police, and we were just on a pond of ice. And I was able to put a GoPro at the front and drive this thing. And what we were doing, we were showcasing ice training. And if somebody were to fall in the ice or, a
Mhm.
car were to go into the river or something, this training that these police officers have to go through with the park district. And yeah, I put on the wetsuit and got in the water with them and learned how to do that stuff. So it was stuff like that. I did a couple of things like that, and I think stick out to me.
What's your training like? So you went to Missouri State, is that
Yep.
right? So at Missouri State, are you really just learning like comms, producing? Are they actually
Mhm.
teaching you investigative journalism, or are you kind of expected to learn that more on your own?
The first 2 years, you're just learning comm and very entry level broadcast journalism. Once you get into your junior, senior, that's when you get more hands on training. And so that's when I started actually producing a newscast, anchoring a newscast. I did weather, I did sports, I did news. Y- in the field reporting, we started messing with kind of the social media aspect about, okay, one of your projects is going to go out and you're going to cover a scene and you're going to do it on your cell phone. So you start doing stuff like that. But I think in terms of just getting the knowledge of the world and what's going on, you don't get that until you're in the grind. And I think that's one of the things that once I came out here and started doing it on a daily basis, you start to chip away at that
Mhm.
and just get better and better over time.
Have you ever had a hot scoop or something that you really uncovered or that you got to break?
I had a couple of hot scoops. Yeah, I think that's one of the better things that.
It's got to be exhilarating. Like you're
Yeah,
not just reporting on the, high school track meet. You're like, I got a scoop here.
yeah. I think I remember something about back across the river on the Tazewell County side, there's a community that was really upset that whenever it would rain, it would just like flash flood their community, like really uh, tear some things up and get into the basements and stuff like that. And they felt like nothing was happening to help these people. And so some people, reached out to me and said, I think you should really look into this. So I did kind of this investigative piece and went out there in this community and went live at 5 and 6 o'clock. And I was showing like what was going on because it had just rained like the day before. And so,
So you get a tip on a Tuesday,
yep.
Wednesday it rains, and you're like, I'm gonna go check this
Uh
out.
huh. This one, yeah, I think, maybe I had a couple more days in advance and I did multiple interviews just about wanting to help these people and talking with them, like how it impacts them and stuff like that. And then you try to obviously be balanced and fair, and you try to get the official standpoint from the powers that be that maybe should or should not have been helping these people, and didn't get a lot from that. So I decided to basically just show the viewers live on air what the heck's going on. And so,
Did you catch any
yeah,
any flack for that? Like being a government official, I can imagine them being like, this reporter is out here with a camera, didn't come to my office first, thinking that they're important, that they didn't get briefed. I mean, I
yeah.
could just imagine you catching some heat.
Couple people weren't too pleased, but I will say I did my due diligence as I try to always do. I probably slip up a couple of times, but make those phone calls, text, emails.
Mhm.
If you're not going to meet with me about this, we're going
We're
to do it
going live at
live. We're
6.
going to do it live.
We'll do it
But
live.
so yeah, I remember one of my live shots. I was in this community. There's a creek that runs down the middle of this community, and then so there's roads that go above this creek, and there's kind of like bridges, if you will. And so the grass all around these areas, I mean, dude, it was like as tall as you, man. Like it's way up there and just not mowed in years. And so of course, when it rains, it's not, nothing's happening.
Mhm.
I saw a dead pig stuck in a pipe. That's how bad it was, man. There were kids running around playing in the puddles and stuff, and I'm like, "What are you guys doing down there?" Like, "Oh, we're searching for snakes." Like there's snakes in the grass, like for real. And then there's literally a dead pig just face down, stuck in this pipe, and I'm like, "You can't make this up." And I'm like, "I can't show that on camera." But what I did show is on one of those bridges, there's like barricades on both sides, which are supposed to, I guess, protect people and cars from going over into the ditch. Well, the whole barricade, because of the raining and the flooding, was just on the ground. And so I remember I just held up this barricade and I said, this right here is, was just on the ground when we came on. I like threw it on the ground, and it was some good stuff. So I will say, yeah, I got a little bit of flack for that, but that grass got mowed in about 48
Yeah.
hours and people were very happy. So
Yeah. Well, I also imagine that if you're not catching flack as a journalist,
yeah,
then you're not doing your job.
probably
I
not
mean,
doing your job.
you're just covering, like I said, the high school track meet.
Yep.
So is there a tip line? And because what I imagine is that there's a line where you get inbound requests,
Mhm.
and most of those are ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings and
Yeah.
all these mother hap. And you were like, man, I didn't pay my good money at Missouri State to do a bunch of ribbon cuttings. Obviously, that goes with the territory, but
Yeah.
surely most people get into the industry because they want to get scoops and break stuff.
Right. Yeah, a little bit of all the above. So, I mean, obviously, the general newsroom email gets a million things a day.
And that's a whole
Yeah.
episode of stories in itself. Things that come in the
You never know.
general email.
You'll get angry viewers, happy viewers, viewers that love you, viewers that don't love you. But yeah, I mean, any ribbon cutting event that's happening, they'll send it to that. But again, I think the best stories, a lot of times that come out, are when people text you, when people call you, when you build those relationships and they trust you. And so, like, hey, I really think you should look into this, and I trust you to be the one to do it. That makes you feel good as a person. And if you really do want to help your community, you're going to want to at least hear somebody out. So I'd always try to hear people out, and maybe I wouldn't pursue something, or maybe I would. A lot of people would reach out to my Facebook page, so that's another part of it. You as a personality, you create your own pages, and people reach out to you there. So
It seems to me like somebody who is in the industry and has the bravery to really push the envelope, not be afraid to get some flack every once in a while, can really stand out. But it's
yeah,
probably just so easy to do the ribbon cuttings and the groundbreakings that
yeah,
you just kind of spin your wheels.
yeah. I mean, I got so bored of that. After a while, I don't know what I am, but I'm not the type of guy that likes to sit down all day long. I like to be bouncing around from place to place and
Yeah.
doing a bunch of things. And so, yeah, I think, and that's one of the parts I think makes good journalists better, and maybe stand out from your competition, is when you get tired of the status quo and just doing the ribbon cuttings and um, the cat show or whatever it may be, and you want to actually do something. One, obviously, to the betterment of your community, like that might be number one for you. But two, you are thinking about the next steps of your career, and you have to make a highlight reel or an anchor reel, reporter reel, and so you have to have good stuff to put on that reel to get your future job. So whether that's an internal promotion, or maybe you want to leave where you're at and go to the next city, well, you have to have something to show that you were a good journalist.
Mhm.
And yeah, covering the cat and dog show and the ribbon cutting here is not going to cut it.
So, you not wanting to be somebody who's sitting around a lot really
Yeah.
describes what you're doing now.
Mhm.
I see you all over the place. So maybe bring the listeners up to speed on what journalism, reporting, storytelling looks like today?
Yeah. So yeah, full time. I'm with OSF Healthcare, media relations, and so pretty much on a daily basis, I'm either interviewing our doctors and our nurses, our dietitians about any sort of medical story under the sun. So cancer is obviously very big. Cardiovascular, neurology. I mean, we're talking some really in-depth stuff, and so the doctor is the subject matter expert for the story, and then I kind of use my journalistic talents to write full articles about that. And so I do that, and then just being
Where
like,
do those go? Where do those stories go?
yeah, they go on the OSF newsroom. So if you were to just Google OSF newsroom, it would pop up, but it's newsroom.osfhealthcare.org.
Is it mainly an asset for employees, other docs, industry experts? Like, who's your customer? Who's your audience with that?
It's a great question. So I work in the business of earned media, we'll call it. So there's paid media and there's earned media,
Mhm.
there's owned media, but earned media is just kind of being out there and organically creating content. And so the newsroom is actually built for mostly journalists and newsrooms. And so they will actually come to our website, check out our content that we have there, and then they will run it in their shows that night or on their radio show or on their, if they're a digital publication, they might literally copy and paste our stuff. And they'll, of course, attribute this is from OSF Healthcare, whatever. But there's all these different ways. So that's kind of audience number one. But I think we're really growing it to be more public facing, like something that like patients can go onto the website and just learn some great stuff. And so we want to do a lot of health and wellness stuff where we're talking about like what are foods that you can eat to fight cancer or prevent cancers. This is a story I did last week, and so I think that's pretty helpful stuff, and a lot of good information there. So
Yeah, I bet that's pretty fulfilling. Like,
mhm.
not that what you were doing before wasn't, but telling people the health story, getting it. And I also think there's so much confusing information, misinformation, whatever you
Yeah,
want to call it. There's a lot of perspectives. And so to say, hey, I'm interviewing one of the top uh, cardiosurgeons or whatever,
yeah.
and this is what they're saying. It's just really nice to get that from the directly from the horse's mouth, as they say.
Yeah, well, and it also gives some credibility and just awareness of who the doctor is. So maybe if they are newer and they haven't done a lot of public appearances or media stuff, like this is a good opportunity to get your face out there and get it on the evening news, and maybe some patients will see you and say, "Oh, she looks really nice. I kind of want to.
Mhm.
I have to get a new doctor for this. Maybe I'll give her clinic a call." So
Yeah.
there are some good things that kind of come with that as well.
Do you have to help? I'm sure you do. These docs like just tell their stories. I mean, that's not what they do professionally, right? They would
Right.
just go for a decade plus to learn how to cut things open,
Yep.
not how to explain it to the layperson. And I think we can all, think of a time we've been with a doctor and they're telling you these things that make total sense to them, and you're just like, you lost me 2 minutes ago. I
Right.
have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So how do you cut through that?
Yeah, I mean, you first just kind of have to tell people like, talk to me like you're talking to your sibling or your mom or your friend. So we have to be very conversational about what we're talking about. We can literally be talking about brain surgery using lasers and robots. And yes, I have done that story before, but we have to be able to have anybody that reads that story understand it. And that's something that I had to do as a journalist too. You're doing these court cases and you're doing uh, crime scenes and stuff like that maybe people don't talk about on a daily basis. You have to be able to make it understandable for as many people as you can, or else you're going to lose people and they're going to go to the other channel. So I think that's step number one. I do some training, with them if they request it. We'll do a training even beforehand, but just kind of depends on the person. Some people, I mean, they're real pros at it. They've done it for so long and they're very natural, and
Mhm.
it just flows very nicely.
Okay, so we talked about Matt Sheehan, the newsman.
Yeah.
Talked about Matt Sheehan, the OSF comms guy. Tell me about Matt Sheehan, the hobbyist influencer.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, it's a good
The
question.
side hustle influencer.
Yeah, I always had this knack for doing a little bit more in the social media world, and I wasn't really able to do that, when I was under contract at a TV station,
Like they kind of own your content. If you're producing something, it's for them.
Yeah, and they can kind of tell you, you probably shouldn't have done that, that sort of thing. Because yeah, you are under a written contract that basically your name, image, and likeness is a property of this company. And so I didn't like that. I didn't
Yeah.
like that at all.
Yeah.
And so once I got out, luckily I did have a decent following of people that pretty regularly were being connected with my content. And so I just
So
kind
did
of
you have
continued.
like your own Facebook page, or how
Mhm.
did you take those followers with you?
I had my own Facebook page, but I was strategic about it. So if there's any like journalists listening, um, so I was Matt Sheehan TV. Okay, there was no affiliation with a station on my name, and because of that, I didn't have to shut it down at the end. So I've known people who put their name and then the call letters of their station at the end of it,
Yeah.
and when if they chose to leave or whatever, the station was like, "Gotta delete that page. You
Yeah.
got our name on it." Um, so it gets sticky and it gets a little tricky, but because I had it that way, yeah, I just kept flowing with it, and I had my Facebook page, and I continue it to this day. I still have TV on the name. Part of that's because I can't figure out how to change my name on my phone. I think I have to go on my laptop, and I'm like, you know what? Just leave it
TV
at this
works.
point.
Yeah.
It's been 2.5 years. Just
Yeah.
keep it going. So
Yeah. So what kind of things are you covering?
yeah. Oh yeah. A lot of things. So, lately been working with a lot of like hotels or restaurants or family friendly attractions. So I'm a father of two kids, age 3 and about 1. She turns 1 a week from today. And so we do a lot of just getting out there and doing family friendly activities. So zoos, aquariums, nature centers, parks, that sort of thing. And so yeah, we might get hosted by a certain zoo or aquarium, and just creating content off of that. So that might be posts with photos, videos, or reels, and just kind of showcasing what we're doing. We're basically just living life, and I'm using my photos and video skills to have a little extra fun with it and put content out there.
Well, it kind of seems like though not that the quality was ever subpar, but just has really stepped up. Like it seems like your production value has really jumped up. And I'm just curious if there's a point where your wife Rachel's like, "Okay, honey, you're not doing this professionally. Did you really need the new camera?"
Right. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think one, it just comes with
Yeah,
experience. It's kind of back to that journalist thing. The more time you put in, you start to learn things. Okay, I know I did that one pan and it didn't really work well with that shot. I'm not going to do that again. But that really looked good, and I did this and I blurred that, and so I think as time goes on, your content just looks better. You become a better videographer, you become a better photographer. Um, but it's not only about that. You have to be able to do. You still have to be able to tell a story, and
mhm,
so it comes down to the writing of the captions and what you're telling people, and if that's gonna drive them to care about your post or not. And it's also about the way that you like format, like in what order are your pictures going to be. I think the big thing that people love are people, and so seeing me and my family maybe enjoying something with a Christmas tree behind us and smiling big, that brings some sort of emotion out of people. Maybe they like that, and then they want to learn more. So then they look at the other photos. If I went to something and my first photo was, a light or two or one of the buildings, you might kind of be like, next thing,
whatever. Yeah.
whatever. So yeah, I have gotten some better gear over the last couple of months. I just invested in a drone, so I'm excited to start working with that. I haven't really done anything with the drone yet, and then I have a camera. It actually takes a 360, so there's two lenses on it, and it's really like this small. I should have brought it in to show you, but there's a lens on the front and there's a lens on the back, and so you connect to it through an app on your phone, and so it'll the images and the video, they'll get sent to your phone, and then you can choose where to turn the shot to use it. So if I have the 360 and I'm shooting that way, but I really want to show that tree right there, I just kind of drag the screen and there's the tree. So it's kind of cool. I'm excited to experiment with that a little bit more and see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about all of your hats. One more big hat.
Yeah.
Matt Sheehan, amateur soccer executive.
Yeah.
What's going on with Peoria City Soccer? Why do people need to come watch it? What's the history? Uh, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, yeah, I am going into year 4 of I think year 4, right? Season 4 of Peoria City Soccer. Currently I'm the vice president. Very blessed to be a part of a great organization with great people running it. and a great community. And so super excited to be coming back in 2026. I think, the big thing that we just want people to know, because you're right, we are technically, you would call it amateur, but we like to refer to it as professional, excuse me. But amateur, pre-professional, same thing. Basically, it's a bunch of college kids looking for their next step to go pro, and it's in the summer months, so it's between your spring semester and your fall semester. You're trying to get better highlights. You're trying to get good statistics, maybe coaches to see you again to go, maybe to go pro somewhere. And so, what I'm really excited about is, yeah, that's where we're at right now, the pre-professional. But I think we're really heading into the direction of professional, and we're starting to really take that seriously about bringing professional soccer here to Peoria, Illinois. And so, what does that look like? It looks like having some of the best soccer talent from the world coming here to Peoria. It means players that actually get salaries, right? Because we're not paying the players' salaries right now. But we would be bringing people in. They'd be bringing their families. There'd be some impact there. Maybe there's building a soccer stadium for us. That's definitely a possibility. Or purchasing a stadium of some sort and building onto that. So there's a lot of potential there, and there's definitely some interest in us from professional leagues here in the United States, to see us take that step. The big reason for that, I mean, one, we run our organization very professionally. It's very well done. We were actually number one in local brand awareness in all of 144 teams.
Wow.
So that,
At that level,
yep,
number one brand awareness, Peoria City Soccer.
yep.
Wow.
And that was given to us by the league. And I think that comes down to just being connected with our community, keeping our ears to the ground. Social media was definitely a big part of that, growing the social media brands, which I run. And then I think just, again, the earned media, the paid media, we were kind of hitting everything as a professional club does, but we are still at that pre-professional level. So, um, yeah, I think we're definitely ready to go pro and to bring that here.
Yeah, it's a blast, and you've got a great product. I mean,
Thank you.
I'm by no means a soccer junkie. Like, I watched the World Cup, and that about
Yeah,
sums it up. But I'm ashamed to say, I went to my first game finally last summer, and I thought that the quality of soccer was great. I mean, they were moving the ball. I think the final score was 3-1 Peoria.
yeah,
And I remember walking out and just thinking, I want to go back. And
yeah,
that's what you hope for customers. But I mean, like, actually, I went, wanted to go back, had a blast, enjoy what I saw without knowing a lot about soccer. And there was a couple hundred people there, and there was food trucks, and there
yeah.
was kids running around. I mean, it just was a blast.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are going into, so we started in 2022. We were first announced in 2020. COVID happened. And then we initially started in 2022. I came on in 2023. So since 2022, when we were just averaging about, I think it was 712 fans a game. Um,
Oh wow,
yeah, in
that
season
seems like a
one.
lot.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably top 10 of attendance ranking.
Out of 144,
Hmm.
the first year you were in the top 10.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
And then, and I remember the numbers going into 2023. We grew the fan attendance by 67%. Randomly from 23 to 24 was also that 67% growth. And so now we're more so, averaging between, I think, like 1,500 and 2,000 a game.
Wow. And is that the most, or if 700 gets you at top
Yeah.
10, I got to think that 1500's
I think
top
we're
or
probably
pretty
top
close to the
five.
top.
Yeah, we're definitely top five. We in 2024 we made it to the national final, which was super exciting. I think the best part of that was um, because there were 3 rounds of playoffs, and Peoria was chosen every time to host. So we actually hosted a pot of 4 teams. Round one, we won both games, so we go to round two. Another pot of 4 came here to Peoria. So we're talking teams from Canada, Michigan. The next round, we had teams from Tucson, Arizona, San
Wow.
Francisco. Yeah, they had to fly into Peoria, stay in our hotels, eat our food, that sort of stuff. So we won both of those games, and then they chose us to host the national championship. And there was over 3,100 people at Shea
Oh my
Stadium.
gosh.
It was absolutely electric. We lost the game, super disappointing. We were up 2-1 at half, and we ended up losing 3-2.
Oh, bummer.
The other team scored their third goal with like couple minutes to go in the game. I mean, it was really heartbreaking. But we kept our heads up and came back for a great 2025. So yeah, it's definitely, I think what we say, like, we put on amazing soccer. Our players are some of the best players in the country, especially at the collegiate level. You'll see a lot of, Bradley guys out
Mhm.
there, which is fun too, a good Peoria tie. Um, but we more so even focus on the atmosphere and the game environment. So you're right. We have food trucks that show up at 4 o'clock when the gates open. And so if you want to come out, the tailgate's a huge hit.
Yeah.
People are coming out, bringing their grills, throwing a frisbee, kicking a soccer ball, drinking a couple beverages, and then getting some food along with it. And because the gates don't even open till like 6:30, so they're out there tailgating for like 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my.
there's tons of kids. Like, it's very family friendly.
Uh-huh.
Like, there's nothing too bad there at all, and just families really enjoying it. We try to have a good mix of food, and then like maybe like a snow cone or like ice cream, especially for the kids. And then they come
Yeah, I think I
into.
had cheesecake.
I bet you. Yeah, I bet you did.
It
That's
was
good.
great.
It was, yeah,
I've
it's good
never
stuff too.
never had cheesecake from a truck, but I
No.
was there for it.
Yeah, so it's great stuff like that. And then, I mean, you enter the stadium and we have even more stuff inside. So, we had like nothing but cakes was out at most of our games this past summer, and we got people doing freeze dried candies, and then we kind of do our own, concessions with, chips, sodas, that sort of thing, if you get thirsty at halftime or something. But we just try to build this full atmosphere from the minute you get into the tailgate lot to the minute you go into the stadium to the minute you leave.
Where do you find the players at? And
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a coach, obviously. Like,
right.
how do you kind of, if it's, nobody's getting paid, how do you put the whole thing together?
Yeah, yeah. The players aren't getting paid. Coaching staff and our executive staff, technical staff, they get paid, obviously. So a little bit of it is obviously the head coach coming on, bringing his guys, whoever that might be, um, and then our club president Jim DeRose, former
Mhm.
Bradley head coach of 28 years, knows a lot of people who have a lot of players, and especially given our track record of who we are and the crowds that we draw and the type of soccer that we have, a lot of people want to come to Peoria. There's way too many people that want to come to Peoria than we can have in Peoria. There's probably thousands of players across the U.S. that would love to come here. We just can't do
Man, I
that.
love to hear that.
We just can't do that yet, I guess. Maybe not ever 1,000, but
Yeah.
I mean, really,
Well, if there's 144, I mean, they're fielding teams of,
yeah,
20 guys on a roster maybe. And
yeah, we'll
and
roster 40 people a summer.
and
It's crazy,
if you want to use it as a highlight reel, you're not going to go to the worst one. You're going to
right?
try to go to one of the ones where you're going to put the ball in the net.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it's that time of
success breeds
year.
success.
The NCAA final was just a couple of days ago, and University of Washington, they won it. But now that the season is over for all of these players all across the board, our DMs are just getting, people are just messaging us, and so they'll send their highlight reels and their CVs and reference to their coach, and they want to come play for us and all that. And so we're getting into a fun time of scouting and recruiting. But again, it is because we built that track record of success that people really want to come here. And so we got some great players that just want to come and play for us. So yeah, super exciting.
Oh man, that's just so great to hear. We'll end there. That's a great spot to end. Matt, how can people find you?
Yeah, I think the main way, if you want to go my Facebook page, Matt Sheehan TV, that'd be great. I do have a website where I write articles about some of my travels. That's mattsheehanofficial.com. You can also find me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate having you on.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm Travis Weaver, and you're listening to the Good People Project.